It's been a while. So I'm back for some predictions for the finale and a review of last week's episode. So for a quick summary of what happened, Speed Force Nora shows up again to warn Team Flash that Barry is in 2049 before vanishing with a funny looking effect. And Eddie now has the ability to open up singularities connected to his emotions, and he kills the um the detective in the future by mistake. So he later goes to the Flash Museum looking for Team Flash or Barry, I think, and sees someone that's supposed to be his daughter if he and Iris were still together. And it's literally just Nora West Allen with a blonde wig. And it's the negative Speed Force trying to tempt him to join the dark side. But the real Nora West stops him. So for the moment that didn't make sense to me is that Team Flash is still active in the year 2049, and they look the exact same as 2023, kind of. And Cecile, who should be like 70 plus years old, is the only person with like two streaks of gray hair. They did the same hair and makeup for like Allegra, Chester, Nora. Well, yeah, Nora's a given, of course. But yeah, just a poor job with the whole future effects that they were trying to pass along in the show. So yeah, not only should all of them be 50 plus years old at least, it's that they don't look old at all and they're still active superheroes. Anyway, Nora becomes possessed by the crystal and tries to tempt Eddie into accepting its power, but Barry appears and runs him out of the way to his house. Eddie gets angry at Barry for his sacrifice being in vain and him stealing Iris, which I kind of understand. Though I think Rick Kuznets acting this episode was kind of like overacting, and I don't know. I feel like he did a kind of poor performance. No offense, but I also feel like they just did like a one shot take, and they could have done more, but they just didn't really have the time, maybe. So that could also play a role in why. So yeah, Eddie gets angry, and then a possessed Nora shows up in after the negative Speed Force possesses Nora. She shows up in like Central City looking for Eddie, and um yeah, Barry goes to fight her, and then they do a little fight, and then Barry loses, which is understandable, because he's not gonna hurt his own daughter. I just think that there were other ways that you could have choreographed it so that Barry, who is miles faster than his own daughter, wouldn't have to. I mean, never mind. It's whatever. But yeah, the CGI was all right as well. Kind of bad in my opinion, but it's all right. So yeah, Nora shows up, demanding Eddie, and then they fight, and then it's revealed that the negative Speed Force resurrected Eddie and created the house he is living in. So it doesn't really make sense for her to be looking for Eddie or demanding him. So yeah, on the other side of the story, Cecile somehow has the ability to project her mind into the future to her 2049 self, which doesn't even make sense, but I'm not going to address it because whatever made sense in the show. And she tries to warn she the purpose of her doing that is to warn Team Flash, and they do a complete detour and make it about Cecile because she apparently only visits Joe twice a year. So anyway, she shows up in her superhero attire after a pep talk known as Virtue, and she frees Nora from the negative Speed Force, and Eddie goes to Iris in 2049, trying to get with, to try to get her to go with him. But, to no surprise, she rejects him, and he breaks bad and accepts the negative Speed Force, effect and all that. And he goes to the past, I think, to get the past speedster villains, Zoom, Godspeed, Savitar, and Thawne. So yeah, what a bad episode. I said in the comment that the writers have constantly dug holes that they can't get out of because they're left with now a low budget and bad writing that can't even be improved with at least a good budget. So yeah, that was not a good episode in my opinion. Now, for my predictions for the finale after seeing the trailers, I think it's going to be incredibly rushed if it is the regular 42 minutes, which it seems to be because they are bringing back the old villains and Eddie's suiting up for the first time, and also they're going to probably resolve the supporting characters as well. So, unless the speedsters are being also Unless the speedsters are being mind controlled, like I said in the previous video, it doesn't make sense for them to team up together because I don't think that they all individually hate Barry the same amount to really like change how they act normally. So yeah, and I think Tion will probably sacrifice herself to oversee nature and bring back Frost and Caitlin. And Cecile is probably going to make some of the villains change their mind and make them good again while Barry does nothing. So yeah.